You know what I have noticed, we're here at the RAU conference in Sydney, and I did my runs this morning walking around, and what I did notice is that there's a lesser lithium experience. I mean, lithium is still the main player, main story, but there's a bigger rare earth presence, sort of taking some of the limelight away. And I think that maybe, I think a lot of people may think this is a short-lived thing. I personally think because of the geopolitical issue, like you mentioned, and if anyone sort of looked into the rare earth projects in China, they're actually very low grade, and the way they've been extracting is not the best practice. And I think eventually even them themselves would try and limit that to some degree. So I think this story has a lot of legs in time. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but in time. But anyway, so do you agree with that narrative in sense of what I've just described?
Yeah, look, Northern Minerals were talking about this before.
Yeah.
It's and maybe the time, like for lithium, the time wasn't right for them, and maybe it'll come in the future where the market will appreciate the scarcity of it, the geopolitical issues, the fact that you see these sort of one-man shows, or a handful of people are mining these things, and dams are leaking, and they don't rehabilitate it. And in the tungsten sector, they've closed down a fair bit of the smaller operators because of the pollution levels. So, yeah, does that happen with China? Don't know. It's obviously a different regime compared to regulation in Australia, but there's a possibility it may. At the end of the day, they don't want to be harming their environment, so eventually there'll be some control. And and if Australia's well positioned to be developing, a handful of these mines supplying the product the world needs, then it's a good result. And like I said before, it's about us being in the game, and rare earths has had little runs before. I think we heard about, probably 6-7 years ago, it had I don't know, it was generated at a Reddit. I think it might have been a few years ago, and then all of a sudden there was a scarcity, and tungsten got tied up into that as well, and that doesn't change. China still controls those commodities, and the US and Europe require those products, but our regime for developing or permitting and all that, it is more challenging. It still allows us to mine, in much of Australia, and as a consequence, we can still supply the rest of the world with those products.